Yes! I did it randomly again! Yay! You're not on the Freya Fellow case too, are you? That is classified information between myself and my client. He was rattled, that much was clear. But sorrowful, mournful, I cannot say. Sally, don't move. We're being watched. Stand around staring at each other. Right, sorry. That's better. So you kicked the door down. I did. Alright, let's go to the music room and meet Poppy. I know you guys can't hear the music, but like you can hear her playing the piano. Whatever it is, it's playing a little trumpet. Well, it is the music room. He's gotta practice. And what's with all the broken glass? A shiny statue of a strange creature holding a large horn. There's a noticeable crack running along the length of the creature's horn. Inside the horn, and on the ground below, there are various shards of cracked glass. A lot of cracked things. Other than that, there's nothing important here. They just point out that why is there lit candles in front of probably flammable books. And let's talk to Poppy. I like her design too. Are you a ghost? Sally! That's rude! Unless she is a ghost. It may come as a disappointment. But I am alive. Ah, that makes you a suspect, I'm afraid. I know. Then what's your name? My name's Poppy. I'm a pointer and a pianist. We'll have to ask you a few questions about Freya. I know. Hey, you're pretty good. All in the wrists. And 13 years of dedicated practice. I'm just me. There's nothing to know. How are you related to the other pointers? My father's Percival Pointer, the professor. He spends most of his time hidden in his tower. Barely speaks to anyone these days, especially not the fellows. Do you get on with the fellows? Two of them, Fifi and Freya, are my closest friends. We all turned 19 last year. Do people ever leave Tangle Tower? I don't mean to be rude, it's just, if you're 19, you don't have to answer that, Poppy. Oh, I was using fucking... The voice I'm using for Poppy is the one for, Sally. God damn it. A lot of these characters I'm giving, like, my shy, disinterested voice to. Where are the eccentric characters? It's a fair question. I'd like to move away, definitely. Fifi and Freya and I would often talk about it. Argue about it. Freya wanted to leave, but Fifi... Things are more complicated for her. What about now? After what happened, I don't really want to stay here much longer. 3.5 hours of piano practice as soon as I wake up. Same as always. 3.5? Does that not hurt your hands? Sure. And you do this in the music room? No, I prefer to practice in my room. When I make mistakes, I like to make them in private. What do you do after that? I'm supposed to meet Fifi in the library, but I totally forgot. When I finally go down there, she'd already be gone. I checked her bedroom, but it was locked. Was Fifi not there? No idea. She keeps her door locked either way. So I went back upstairs, and out into the moonlight garden. The what? A little garden on the roof outside my room. Was it just you up there? No, Fitz came outside after a while. His room is on the other side. He's been teaching me about flowers. So, do you talk to him? Not really. You ignored each other. I didn't say that. Yeah, they were just hanging out. They don't have to interact. They could just be in the same room. I do that with people all the time. Fitz and I were up in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound, lasted about 3 seconds. I've been trying to decide how to describe it, but I'm struggling. It was like something drilling into a piece of metal, but different. Worse. I was pretty sure it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there to check. Her door was locked, and nobody was answering. I knew Freya and Flora were both supposed to be in there, so I made Fitz knock the door down. I went inside, and Freya was lying on the floor. Flora was in the room too, yeah. I think she realized what had happened in the same moment I did. I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi. Her door was still locked, but I knocked and shouted at her. Eventually she let me in. The lights were off, but I could see that she'd been crying. I told her what had happened, and she didn't believe me. She got angry. The first time I've ever seen her angry. So I dragged her out into the hall, and my father was there too for some reason, and the three of us went back up to Flora's tower. Then Felix arrived. He had Penny with him. Fifi had this idea. She wanted to do some kind of scientific test, so she took me down to the library where we were in there for about 15 minutes. After she was gone, I went back upstairs. She went back upstairs, and I went back to my room. I got distracted because I was focusing on how I took a break, but I didn't drink any water. It probably helps make her voice sound dry. That's it? That's it. Alright, let's ask her about Flora. Needless noise from tongues expel, unless within the mountain they dwell. The spoken word unfit for dealing, for shifting form of feeling, stand unblinking in the face of taciturn and soundless space. I can't pause that part, so when I fucked up, I didn't know if I did fuck up or not. The words disappeared faster than I could say it. Alright, focus. I can't pause. With surging tide, and waves are thrown, an entity of all its own, but on its surface you may see, reflected in the waters be, the orchestrator pale and still, pulling strings, enacting will. I do like that she's doing these little poems, but I am too dumb. I work in the visual arts, not the not the musical ones. Hard of head but free of mind, unimprisoned, unconfined. With starry eyes she sees beyond, behind our walls, beneath our pond. A soul untied, it's hers, it's free. Was then, is now, will ever be. Like, the only one I got when I played this last time was that Freya is described as being a very free spirit, which I think was cute and the only one I understood, like, at first glance without thinking about it. Because I can't dwell on these, I gotta move on, you know, I can't spend too long deciphering what the fuck Poppy means by it. Softly does the flowers grow, all in time, and time is slow. Rest a seed within the earth, but do not rush its gentle birth. Hour by hour, day by day, tune your heart to nature's way. That's me. I'm on a list of murder suspects. Always thought that would be kinda cool, but it's just tedious. Falls a little short, doesn't it? So there are 2 families living in Tangle Tower. 3 pointers and 5 fellows. 4 fellows. What's the connection between them? There's isn't one, not really. It was all built by the Remington family. Flora is a Remington, originally. So was Primrose, my mother. She married into the Pointers, and Flora married into the Fellows. So the Fellows and the Pointers own the house now. Flora owns the house. Depending on who you ask, that means her husband Felix owns it too. What about your father? His claim over the house kind of fell apart after my mom left. Where's your mother now? No idea. There's something I noticed about Freya's knife wound. Hit me. From what I could tell, the blade went in at the exact right angle. I can't say perpendicular in Poppy's voice. Perpendicular. And there was only one small pool of blood. Nothing on Freya's hands or anywhere else. The whole thing is just a little too peaceful. This is mine. Really? No, well, yes, it was. I gave it to Freya about a year ago. What was on it? Nothing. It was blank. Freya said she wanted to record something. Any idea how it ended up underwater? Maybe someone wanted to destroy it, but got really lazy. What do you make of this statue? I know it's the only harp in the whole Tangle Tower. Never actually seen a real one. Maybe it's from before your time. Oh, definitely. You see how old that statue is? What about the symbols? One of them looks like piano keys. Yeah, weird. Don't you think that's weird? That the letter isn't addressed to anyone or signed by anyone? Someone's being deliberately secretive. Or they're trying to manipulate you. Oh my god. Okay. How do YouTubers do this? Like, suddenly, like, as I'm doing YouTube, I'm understanding more and more how difficult it is to be entertaining and do things on the fly and actually talk consistently. And especially when in games like this where it kind of like goes forward and I have to be on the fly, it's so difficult. Okay, why is the glass cracked down one side? Oh, hi Stella! I don't know if my mic is picking you up. You want to say something? Aw, good kitty. Why is the glass cracked down on one side? Natural wear and tear, maybe. No way. Freya took good care of her stuff. Freya would always load up the palette with all the exact colors she needed. I think it helped her zone out and focus on the actual painting itself. Like getting all your sheet music lined up before playing a long piece. Right. So the blob of black paint from the middle, that was for painting Flora? Flora's dress, yeah. She wears even more black than I do. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like Flora was holding a knife, with blood on the tip. And you don't think that anymore? No. It was a stupid thing to say. The room was dark and I was in shock. I'm just an idiot. But it was blood on the tip. If you hadn't said anything, maybe Fifi wouldn't have checked. Exactly, it's stupid. But we would have missed out on an important clue. Is it a clue? Really? Tell me how it's a clue. Tell me how it helps. Nothing about the knife makes any sense. It's just freaking everyone out. I wish I'd never even said anything. It was my mother's originally. So why is it up in Flora's room? She just gets the most use out of it. Freya would borrow it too sometimes. Does this belong to you, Poppy? No, that's not really my style, is it? But who else would own a tape like this? Literally anybody? What was inside? Nothing. Huh. Did you find that in Fifi's room? No. Should we have? No, it's just... It looks like something she'd use, don't you think? Don't look at me. I didn't break it. Did somebody else use the music room? Yes. I don't know who, but I can tell when somebody else has touched the piano. Alright, great talking to you, Poppy. No, I want to investigate on my own terms. Okay, okay, so far, out of all these people, I think Penelope so far has been my favorite. She's very eccentric and she has like a really nice voice. Like, look at her! She's a bird! I love her design! Okay, there was a few things. Was there a few things in this room? I don't remember. Things start becoming a blur later on. Check out that butterfly. Looks evil. How judgmental. I don't remember what was important in here. A little writing desk. It's kind of cute. There's nothing written in the book, although someone tore a page out the middle. Okay, well, I want to figure out what's important here instead of reading all the flavor text. At least for this beginning part where I've already been in these rooms. Bird diagrams, hand-painted. They're beautiful. Someone really knows their stuff. I don't like mirrors. They steal your soul. How do you get your hair so symmetrical without using a mirror? I do it by weight. I can feel if one side's heavier than the other. They're bird cages, but the birds are coming and going freely. Is that a metaphor? Oh, it totally is. An especially fancy cage, and it's home to 3 especially fancy birds. 3 brightly colored birds in a heavy, ornate cage. Okay, I knew I had to get the birds, but I think that's it. I could have sworn there was something else. Alright. Clear my throat for Miss Eccentric over here. Alright. Oh, just beautiful! What is it? Huh? Sort of delicate jade, but with a little seafoam green, is that right? Sorry? Your hair, dear! What shade do you use? It's lovely! I'm trying to replicate her actual, like, voice from what I remember it being. And that shape, you're really pushing the envelope. Oh, thanks. I do what I can to offset Grimoire's beige on brown ensemble. Detectives don't need to be brightly colored. We prefer to blend into the background. Oh, you're the detective. Delightful. Penny Pointer, pleasure. Is that short for Penelope? Officially, yes, but I never can be bothered with all the 4 syllables of it. Penelope sounds a little ostentatious coming out of the mouth, don't you think? Sure. Yeah. I really wish the voice acting was in here, but my Mac was like, nope, no audio for you. Fuck you, Jess. 20-something Aquarius love to travel, and nearly all of my friends are birds. Travel? Where to? Anywhere at all, as long as it has species worth studying. I can't pronounce this word. Ornithology, they call it. If I fuck that up, I'm so sorry. I call it the only thing I've ever been good at. And have you studied the birds here at Tangle Tower? But of course. Where do you think I developed my love of the field? No matter where I go, I always find myself coming home to Tangle Tower. Because of the birds? Oh no, because of him. Silly to admit, but I suppose I can't bear for us to be apart. Who are you talking about? Hmm? Oh, you didn't know? My fiancé, dear Fitz. He's not really the traveling type, you see. Fitzfellow? The very one. You're engaged to a member of the Fellow family. That's interesting. I'm not especially interested in whatever tedious feuding goes on between our 2 families. Fitz and I are much easier to stay out of it altogether. Like, I love her design. She's so fucking pretty. Sorry. Like, you know there's designs where you're just like, I wish I came up with that. I just want the bird lady. She's so pretty. I love her neck. I love, like, the shape languages they use for these characters. That I could just fucking go on about it, how much I like the art style of this game. I awoke early and headed down to the greenhouse to see Fitz. He's always there, crack of dawn every morning like clockwork. How come? That's where he's the happiest. That, and he's a great deal of work to do every day. Watering, pruning, mulching, whatever that is. Do you help him with the work in the greenhouse? Oh, no, no, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd probably brick something. So you stayed with Fitz the whole day? No. In the early afternoon, he went back inside. Rather suddenly, as it happens. I really hope this voice isn't annoying. I'm trying to replicate her voice, but, like, put my own twist on it, because obviously I can't do the full voice. But it was very, like, squeaky and fancy, and I loved it. I love her voice. Did he say why? He didn't. Probably just a touch of heat stroke, the poor dear. He's more delicate than you'd think. Oh, what did you do after that? Let's see. I returned to the aviary to feed my birds. And how many birds are you responsible for? Officially 4, but in truth it's more like 400. Can they not feed themselves? Of course! And they often do, but I think they just like the company. As do I. Sometime in the evening I left the aviary and headed back to my room. But in the hallway, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. He seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. So I followed him down, but the hallway was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the library. I don't know what it was, but she looked a little lost. I inquired about the professor, but she told me he'd gone up to the fellow tower. So I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path. For some reason, he was coming out of Fitz's bedroom. He looked rather lost, too. I told him I was looking for my uncle, and he suggested we look up in Flora's tower room. We could see from the hallway the door was off its hinges. I knew then that something was terribly wrong. A moment later, we were gazing down the body of poor Freya. Uncle Pointer was there. Fitz, too, standing over in the corner with Fifi and Poppy. What about Flora? Of course, silent as ever. Uncle suggested that we should leave, give the others some space, you know. So, he and I both returned to our rooms in Pointer Tower. Oh, why do you look so pissed? Alright, let's ask you about the family members. What about Flora? A fellow bird enthusiast. She's quite the expert, truth be told. Studied them professionally at one point. I think her father taught her. Are you friends with Flora? A little bit. A little bit friends? She's one of, she's the one for peace and quiet. I dare say I'm a little too loud for her. I can see that. I do admire her though, really. I always feel like she could have done better than settle for Felix. Ouch. I said it. She's the most unsavory little... She was incredibly rude about my appearance. Which part? The giant bird arms? Or... If I were her, I'd go a little bit easy on the judgment of others. I mean, look at her. She looks like the ghost of a scarecrow. I just wish Uncle Pointer would tell her to behave herself. Professor Pointer? Why him? Oh! It was Uncle that called her in. She's his responsibility. Did you not know that? She'd sit in the aviary. First thing in the morning. She'd paint the birds, and sometimes she'd ask me their names. Freya was interested in studying bird species too? No, she just wanted to know their names. Isabelle, Clementine, Myrtle, and Lysandra, Genevieve. I know in English and it's Genevieve, but I was raised French. I don't even know if that's how you say it in French anymore. My French is awful. Got it. Thanks. For my 21st birthday, she gave me a framed painting. All the birds from a single spring, with their names all written underneath. I can't even begin to tell you how much I've treasured it. Sounds like you two were close. I feel like I always struggled to articulate my admiration for her. But she always had a way of understanding unspoken things. Alright, let's have her gush about her fiancé. Isn't he strapping? He is big. And so brooding. Kinda sulky, yeah. I can never tell what's going on in that beautiful head of his. It just sounds like you don't know him very well. I don't remember asking for your input. Oh, did you talk to Poppy already? Well, yeah, a little bit. And did you make any notes of what she told you? Yeah, I did. Lovely. Burn them. It'd all be lies. Why would Poppy lie to us? Because that's what she does. She's a snake. Looks like one, too. Don't you think you're being a little unfair, Penny? She started it. Oh, she's beautiful. Who is she? Oh, wait, is that me? Like, I love her. I don't know why. I hate these kinds of people in real life, but in like animation and like games and stuff, I always love the asshole. Like the fancy assholes. They have to be fancy. Alright. You know, it's probably quite impressive. To a visitor, fresh eyes and all that. Not to you? Try living in it for 20 years. The shine the sheen wears off. If it wasn't for my fits, I'd have little reason to stay. And what about the inheritance? You're the next oldest pointer after your uncle, aren't you? Well, thank you very much for phrasing it like that. But no, any money left in the Pointer family will be passed down directly to Poppy. Is that fair? I couldn't care less, to be perfectly honest. Finally! I get to see a detective's case file! That's a very specific thing to be excited about. Oh, only last week I asked that miserable Hawkshaw woman if I could see her case notes. I'm guessing she said no. Would have been much more polite if she had just said no. Instead, she was quite rude to me. Accused me of being a shallow sensationalist. Oh, goodness me. Poppy really doesn't take care of her belongings, does she? It wasn't in Poppy's room. It was in the little pond in the garden. Exactly, hardly the place for it. I'm sure I've read about this creature somewhere. I don't remember anything about him playing a harp, though. Hello? Who penned this juicy little number? I don't know. It's not signed. An anonymous letter. Classic clue. Oh, wait, that's Penny. Freya doesn't take good care of her paints, does she? Oh, but when she was always but she was then... Wait. But then she was rather bohemian. Had her own priorities. Oh, that's rather sad. I doubt Freya intended it, but the overall effect is a little unsettling. Don't you think? It's Flora. That's the problem. She's unescapably haunting present, bless her. Poppy's gramophone. She's had it for quite some time. Okay, I know I'm replacing some words and stuff, but usually, it's either I fucked up or I'm changing the words to fit the voice a little bit better. sometimes. It's mostly my brain just skipping words. Alright, as a young child, she'd call it her mama phone, on account of it belonging to her mother. That's cute. Oh yes, adorable. How terrible. You recognize it? The color scheme! 3 different pinks! Obscene! I loved when her voice actress said that part. I actually chuckled, but like... the voice acting isn't in it anymore, it's just me! Gaudy old thing, isn't it? Flora seemed to be very fond of it. I never understood why. But then I could say the same thing about her husband. Ayo! I don't know what that is. Oh, for the lens? Okay. Delightful! More of a gemstone than a fruit, isn't it? Inedible, too, I think. Yes, at one point I thought Fitz might be growing them to sell them. But honestly, I think he just likes the way they look. I haven't seen this one in a while. He lives in the music room, doesn't he? Certainly. I must say the girls are awfully well behaved today. I think they know that we're in the presence of company. They belong to you? Why do you keep them in a cage? They need a special diet, particular treatment. I let them out to fly occasionally, of course, but they're all one of a kind. I can't let anything happen to them. Do they have names? Of course. Let me introduce you to Tabitha, Tamara, and Tatiana. I've already forgotten all 3 of those names. Which one is which? Oh, that's simple. Tatiana is the oldest, Tabitha is the most patient, and Tamara has the best sense of the rhythm. Oh, well, I'm glad we cleared that up. What about the one on your head? On my head? He's just my hat. He doesn't have a name. Who would name their hat? I'm going Penny's rooms now. No, I want to explore on my own. This game needs to understand that.